We don't do that here.
Hello, before we get started, I wanted to let you know we're going to be trying a new format going forward. So what I'm going to try to do is to cut the pieces into relevant blocks, right? So we're going to have the review block coming up right now. Later in the week, we'll have the 298 previews, or the previews for that weekend, and then the following weekend we'll have the review for that card released as well, right? So it's a little bit more timely and released in more digestible pieces. So just something to keep your eye on throughout the next 2 weeks.
Well, gang's back together. Let's go.
Yep, the boys are back in town. We're back, all three. The collective, the ultimate fucking casuals are reunited once again to talk about a pretty light review block, but some pretty cool stuff coming up. So, I don't think there's anything news or noteworthy, as we just said. So let's get right into the review block from January 28th to February 10th. There was a One Friday Fights card. I remember the little bit that I did see was pretty fun, but I don't know if there's anything really worth going back for. However, the Fight Night card on the 3rd, headlined by Imavov and Dolids. This one was actually, there's a lot of good ones on this. Starting from the bottom here, Molly McCann gets a win over Diana Belbita. I don't know how I feel about this Molly McCann, because it was a good win, yes, but Belbita's we'll say an RJ kind of fighter. Mm-hmm. So I kind of don't know if I agree with you getting the dub here, but still, it looked all right, and from what they were saying, she was moving down to strawweight, so.
I'm sure that doesn't seem possible.
Moving up, Gilbert Urbina stops Charles Radke in the first. That was a good one. Oh man, I'm gonna mess this one. Alyaskab Kizriev. There's a medical stoppage. Somebody got their eye poked, and it was a corneal scratch or something like that, and it made their eyelid not function. It's pretty rough. Mahmoud Muradov was the opponent there. Ooh, Natalia Silva, ranked 9th, versus Viviane Arajo, ranked 7th at flyweight. That was a UD for Silva. Super quick hands and feet, so it was great. It's cool to see a really enthusiastic, I'll say, kind of performance. Mm-hmm. Very excitable young lady, so that was pretty cool. Did Randy Brown stops Muslim Salikov in the first? Did you see this fucking peach of a 1-1-2?
I don't know. I've seen it either.
I think I remember. Yes, I did see this. This was pretty slick.
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
One of the knockouts for a follow-up shot not needed, but delivered anyway.
Right, kind of towers over him for really no reason. But even still, that size disparity was pretty wild.
Yeah, well, I guess Herb was a mile away when he got knocked down, so at the same, you don't blame the fighter at all. Oh, it wasn't Herb who was reffing; it was some other guy, but he was, I don't know, taking his sweet time.
Mike Smith, maybe, I don't know. Drew Dober drops one to Renato Moicano.
I bet they got pretty close up there.
It's a close one. Dober ranked 15th, Moicano 13th at lightweight. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I think that Dober did enough to win the second and probably the third. But I suppose if you're The first one was clearly Moicano's round. That wasn't questionable, but I don't know. I don't know if I agree with it, but still. That's why I'm a casual, not a judge. Moicano did mention at his in the little post-fight interview that his dad is 62, just had a new kid. Gross.
My man's got some potent sperm.
Yeah, I guess so. And lastly, Imavov gets a majority decision, over Roman Dolidze's 11th and 8th at middleweight. Is majority... One of them had a draw? I don't know. Is that accurate? I don't think it is.
I thought the fight was on the closer side. I don't think Dolidze won, but I don't know. How did they even get to a draw? I don't remember the actual scorecard.
It might have been
because he had a point deduction.
Yeah, might have been that. That had to be.
Oh, yeah. So if he had Dolidze winning and then he deducted a point from them, that would make sense.
Imavov had the point deducted.
I mean, okay. So yeah, he had Ivanov winning.
It was one of those weird situations where his hand was down. Was it down? Was it not? It didn't look like it was. It didn't look like he had weight on it, which I think is the new rule about that.
So what's weird is that different states have different rules of what qualifies as a grounded opponent. So like Vegas recently changed their thing to, I think you need to be weight bearing. So if your fingers are touching the ground, that's not enough, which was, I think, this case. You have to have your palms all the way on the ground. But there are other states that say both your hands need to be on the ground, or just having your hand on the ground is enough. And so it's kind of a weird situation where, like, it seems like the ref didn't know the rules.
Yeah,
exactly. Also, like 3 points of contact, aren't most of them like 2 feet and a hand or something, I think.
Some places have just that.
Yeah, I think that's the most common one to remember. I think that's in the unified rules as well, that one.
I know that the Association of Commissions, or whatever it is, they're trying to amend the rules for both boxing and MMA.
MMA does have it. There is a standard set of rules, but not every commission uses it. So you still have some commissions that just basically build their own set of rules instead of using the standard one.
Yeah. So since they were fighting in Vegas, they were under Vegas's jurisdiction.
I think doesn't New York use the global ones? Because didn't they come up with it? Bob Bennett and all them, didn't they come up with like the standard?
I think so.
I imagine they did.
Yeah, he's decent. He knows what he's doing.
I just remember reading that the Association of Commissions is trying to change to weight bearing on the hand, or for the 3 points of contact, they have to be weight bearing points of contact.
Hard to prove that, but
right.
Yeah,
it's going to come down to replays to really make that determination. But still, it was still an entertaining fight. I thought Dolidze really when he wanted to slow shit down, which unfortunately was often. He had good control, but when they were just standing up, Imavov was like too fast and too sharp. But otherwise, ground game was clearly Dolidze's in his favor. He had more submission attempts and everything.
That's a big surprise, really, for him.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the guy that threw the suplex? He suplexed this dude. I think it was Dober.
Johnny Walker, was it? Usually his favorite.
Johnny Walker's definitely suplexed some people before.
Yeah.
On this one, I think it was Drew Dober. He suplexed Moicano.
Yeah, it was Drew Dober.
That sounds about right.
So that was pretty cool.
Dober's a tank, man. Yeah. He is a ripped dude.
How is he ranked 15th then? Like, that's what I'm not.
Well, he's sort of like, perennial gatekeeper. So I mean, like, physically, he's physically, got the goods, but he's not. Pause. But technique-wise, he's not really shown a higher level to his game. So, a lot of times he just gets outclassed and worn down.
It's also a pretty heavy, top-heavy division here. Bobby Green's ahead of him.
On an unrelated note, just back to the whole grounded opponent thing, I was watching some old Don Fry highlights, and he was in a fight where he was on the ground and his opponent just kneed him straight to the head when he had all fours down. And I mean,
yeah, he's got some gnarly ones.
I'm not opposed to bringing that back. That was really cool as shit to see him survive that and somehow get back up to his feet after taking a knee to the noggin.
That sounds like it would hurt a lot.
Oh yeah, it would be devastating.
So Imavov wins middleweight. Duplessis the champion now. There is one more middleweight fight to talk about, and some coming up. But where does Imavov go from here?
Well, they've moved him up to 8 already. It looks like he just switched places. Well, he didn't switch places with the lead say, but he jumped him.
Yeah.
They were initially they kind of gave him Strickland because they were trying to fast track him to a top 5 position. So he could be in a position to challenge someone like Marvin Vettori next, or like a Jared Cannonier.
Yeah.
Fun. Vettori's coming up pretty soon. All right, moving along. Another fight night card on the 10th. Now, Rodolfo Vieira submits Armen Petrosian in the first. I don't remember it very much. Sorry to say. Michael Johnson gets the decision over Darius Flowers. If I recall this one, Darius is the more up and coming in the UFC ranks guy, whereas Michael Johnson is he's like one of those maybe not ranked contender, but he's one of those always on the cusp of the rankings kind of guy. At least that's what they were describing him as, and I can see why. Oh, Brad Tavares. Did I get this one wrong? I think I have this one written wrong.
He got KO'd.
Yeah, Gregory Rodriguez stops Brad Tavares in the third. This one was great. Tavares came out quick. I think there was a bit of an age difference where Tavares is on the younger side. Rodriguez is on the more, we'll say, experienced side. And that clearly showed Rodriguez pulled him into the deep waters and Tavares couldn't hang. So, not sure where Tavares goes from there. But it was a very exciting fight, so he should still be in the mix on these fight night cards. For sure. Ihor Potieria, UD over Robert Brycek. They were saying Brycek was making his UFC debut. Potieria came in on really short notice, I think less than a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I missed that.
And, yep, he gave him the beans.
Honestly, you should get an automatic buy. If you lose that fight, if you're coming on less than 2 weeks notice or something, even less than a month notice, I think it shouldn't really even count, to be honest, on your record.
I agree completely.
But it should count on your pay scale record, so it should count as one of the increments towards your next 10 and 10 or whatever, regardless of if you win or lose.
Yeah, I agree completely. If you're coming in on fucking a week's
you're doing
notice,
the company a favour.
Yeah, you really are.
And derailing your own career.
Very much putting yourself at risk. He came in, I think, 1.5 pounds over. No fault, I think, at all. Man, you off the couch.
Risk of injury, everything.
Yep. So good for Potieria. He derails Brychick's debut. He introduced himself as a boxer, so I was hopeful, but maybe stick to boxing instead. Dan Ige, ranked 13th, stops Andre Fili 14th, featherweights.
These two have both been around for a long time now.
Yeah, this was kind of, these next two fights are sort of like battle of the gatekeepers here. But Ige, clearly the one who wanted to hold on to his spot more, and probably our first knockout of the year contender.
Yeah, it was a good one.
I think that Randy Brown one was also could also be a
for sure
consideration.
This was a one-punch knockout, I think.
Oh my!
Yeah, it was. He just got bombed out.
And there's always this thing that I try to hold on to, like first round knockouts in boxing. Typically, I try to avoid be drunk in the moment, yes, but try not to let that sway your thinking too much about what's what. Where with MMA, I think it's a little different, just because the round's a little longer. So if it comes later in the round, you do get a bit of time to see how they look. Or what was on the table.
There's also the sudden death aspect of MMA, where in boxing, even if you get knocked down in the first round, you could still have 10 seconds to get back up and maybe survive. But like in MMA, you get caught at any moment, like it could be over just like that.
Yeah, and if you don't have the wherewithal like Dolidze did to make it fucking grimy to get yourself the recovery time. Jack Hermanson, ranked 10th at middleweight, beats Joe Pyfer, who is not ranked.
I don't understand. Maybe Hermanson punches even harder than Joe Pyfer. Maybe that's why he won. You know what I mean? That's all we were hearing about Joe Pyfer this whole lead up was power. He's hitting harder than Francis Ngannou. He's shattered the power cube record, but I don't know. Maybe the power cube really doesn't determine who wins fights. I don't know about you guys.
Blasphemy. Of course it does.
Pyfer, I had hopes he was one of those everyman types. So it was a pretty cool story. As much as I like to throw the joke that he just repeats ad nauseum that he came from nothing. Still, he came from nothing, and here you are. Like, this is great to see. Love to see it. Unfortunately, Hermanson had other plans. I think Pyfer mentioned the calf kick being critical in his loss, that he didn't quite prepare for it as much as he should have, if I'm not mistaken.
It's that bad. It's that he didn't react as much, that he didn't respond as well. But you can not have game plans for specific stuff, but you can counter things like, you can switch stances, or you can, start indicating more grappling exchanges and things like that, but he just didn't know whatsoever.
Were the lights too bright? Because usually when a guy's fighting for a rank, like the highest I've seen is maybe like 13.
Good question, maybe.
And Hermanson coming in at 10, maybe that was one rung on the ladder too high.
Yeah, but I mean,
I just saw
Hermanson is like, he's one of these guys who's been a gatekeeper for a long time. So it's like you expect Pyfer on, if he's legit, to get past this guy,
right? Especially
15 fights in, and how old is he? 27. Like, the fact he stumbled here, it's a fraud check for sure.
It's also his first 5-rounder, if I recall. And he'd only been the distance at 3 rounds once, so maybe that was another thing.
He lost me as a fan tonight, now.
Hermanson Yeah, it didn't look. He did seem like the gatekeeper, perennial lower level contender. No frills really. Just do the job.
That's not what you want.
That's what?
Yeah, it's
It's not what you want, is it?
No,
Cheap and cheerful.
not exactly. Not what you'd hope for. Like you would want the more of the Piper type, who's a little bit more rambunctious. As even if the fight's not great, he still is more excitable at the end. But what are you gonna do? Joe Piper came from nothing. Is he going back to nothing? Who knows?
most likely.
It's unfortunate because he was really fun. Okay, we have not had any picks since the first time, and that is Chief leading with 1. All right, there you have it. That's the review block. I'm probably going to just re-release this one as is, probably around the same time next week. Later in this week, you'll get the UFC 298 preview. And yeah, I would very much like to hear what you think about this format. So if you want to text 833-LUXPODS, it's anonymous. You can opt out anytime. If you want to call, go straight to voicemail. I can cut your audio in if you would like. You don't have. It doesn't have to happen though. So yep. We'll see you later this week. Oh right, other shit. lvxmedia.net/MMA. That's where the calendar is. You can see all the events coming up. I try to keep that up to date. I usually update it once a week. So there's always... Sometimes there's fights changing. Sometimes I miss them. If that's the case, you can text me about it. Fucking email me about it. I don't care. Whatever. Would love to hear from you either way. So, thanks for listening.